You only get one shot. Are they going to click on that and look more at the listing, or are they going to move on?
Real Estate Radio Boston with loan officer Rick Shearer of Guaranteed Rate.
If you are dealing with someone that doesn't understand those micro markets, you're going to be steered completely in the wrong direction.
And legal professional Ali Alavi of Alavi Braza PC.
It's a transaction for us, but it's someone's home.
The biggest anxiety I felt, am I going to get the mortgage?
It all breaks down to communication.
Real Estate Radio Boston gives you the information you need to succeed in today's housing market.
Just agree on something?
Yeah, we actually did. Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
You're giving me this blank stare.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. But
you left his lawyer up.
He's handsome too.
Rick Shearer, NMLS ID 454910. This is Real Estate Radio Boston.
What does a starter home go for in Duxbury? 3 bedrooms, 2 bath type of product.
Other than this year,
yeah.
I was surprised when I first moved there. You can buy a nice home in the 400 to 500 range.
Yeah.
A 3 bedroom, 2 bath, Cape.
That's interesting because everybody hears Duxbury and they go, "Oh, I can't afford Duxbury."
Right.
But no, there are pockets of affordability there. And what makes Duxbury attractive?
It's just a great school system. The schools are almost like a little college campus. It's beautiful. I went to BC High as a kid, and it's a similar campus to BC High. Open fields, all the schools after second grade are all in one spot, and it's literally walking distance to the bay.
Oh, nice.
Your kids have access.
Lucky them, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus.
There's a maritime school in Duxbury. The kids do rowing, sailing. It's very unique to the town. My son's on the rowing team. He walks to his practice after school.
Wow.
It's just a unique spot.
Commuter access?
There's a bus right at exit 10, right on the Kingston-Duxbury line. There's a bus that takes you a couple of minutes, couple of exits away for the trains. Kingston line, you can catch that at 3 or 4 different spots.
Wow.
Now, we talked about the starter home, being in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, which is great.
Yeah.
Where's the move up buyer? In the last show, we talked a lot about the fact that in the first time home buyer market, there's typical places where it's really on fire. Then there's a point in which it softens a little bit,
Right.
and we talked about where the move up buyer actually has some advantages because they're not going and competing with multiple offers and things like that.
Actually, we called it a buyer's market.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
It's a buyer's market for maybe that move up buyer in that certain price point. In Duxbury, what is that price point? Where are you seeing a little bit of softening where there's not multiple offers? And let me not assume, is there a softening?
Historically, in the past few years, I'd say that has changed this year. So 800s into the million range was tough. This year, that 8 to 900 is really strong. And I think you had another agent here from Duxbury before. Duxbury's a delicate market. You have to be spot on with your pricing. You price it a little high. It's not like Boston where you're going to get taken out anyways. The savvy buyer here, they know it's just location. Location is really specific to Duxbury. If it's even $30,000 higher, you won't get the number. It's really specific. It's amazing.
So you're saying that. So really, when you get up into that million mark,
that 900 to $1.1 million is a tough point. A lot of people think their house is there, and it might not be. And if they overprice it a little bit, they might lose few percentage points on the downside if they're wrong.
So would you characterize that price point as being soft?
It's a little softer, but this year it's stronger than normal. But the last, that's historically a tough market.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it takes a little of the market to get energized. That 600-700 market has to clear out, and then they become the buyers for those properties.
I'd say that my market is more, people my age, and explaining to them, the alternatives. Instead of renting an apartment, maybe buy a condo, and now you're building some equity, and you have a roommate, maybe 2 roommates, depending on the area, and instead of throwing your money away every month, I can explain to them the value in buying property, especially in Boston, South Boston, East Boston.
How receptive
all those areas.
is your generation to that idea?
There's some pushback. I think a lot of it is, there's no sense of real responsibility when you're renting a unit. You have a problem, you call the landlord. But once I'm able to explain to them, how easy it actually can be, they've been receptive to a point.
What are some of the things that you do for people who have a loved one that has passed and that need to liquidate a property?
Well, when it comes to an estate, there's a lot of emotion. And usually if there's a sizable amount of money, heirs tend to change and things aren't as compromising. So what I like to do is, first I'll go out and talk to the heirs and see what we're trying to accomplish. Usually it's to gather as much money for the property that there is. There's a lot of pushback and hesitation when it comes to things that need to be done to the property. One heir doesn't want to put up the money, or jointly they don't want to. So my team will coordinate, the cleaning out of a property, the distribution of the furniture and any assets that are in there with the attorneys, and then we try to market the property for the highest and best value, so that it can be split amongst the heirs. But we have one now where the sister and brother just don't see eye to eye, and neither one wants to, make a small investment to probably get an extra $50,000 on the property. Wow. So it will become a situation that will be very lucrative for a flipper or a first-time home buyer to go in and have instant equity.
Speaking of affordability, I mean, obviously, when you compare what's going on in the city, the price points in the city, and what's going on in Walpole, I mean, there's still a tremendous amount of affordability in Walpole.
There is.
What would you say the average price of a single family? I mean, like you said,
3-bedroom, 2-bath.
3-bed, 2-bath.
So the medium is in the fours. It's mid-fours is what you could find in Walpole. Although in this market it's slowly creeping up.
Yeah.
But the median is between 4 and 5.
Are you still seeing sort of the same trends that everybody's talking about with regards to sort of this restrictive inventory? Is that true?
Oh, for sure.
So if you look year over year, are you saying more restrictive inventory this year than years past?
Most definitely.
What do you attribute that to?
It's hard to say. It really is. I think it just, we saw something very different last year, and then we are seeing the same thing now, only it's
more restrictive.
It's more restrictive.
Yeah.
We talked about Duxbury, and we said in Duxbury we're looking at average about 4 years before so they get into a starter home, and then they want to be able to sort of move up and get closer to the beach. Do you see that type of average movement in Walpole as well?
Very similar in Walpole.
It is.
They do start out in a starter home, and then you'll see as the kids get into the school system, and they build equity, and they do move up.
Need more room,
sure.
Have more junk, the whole thing. I know all about that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what the average historically nationwide is 7 years, and so that's when. But I think we're a little bit more transient here in this market, just obviously because of a lot of the industry that we have. People moving all around the.